Today at 1, the legendary TV interviewer Sir Michael Parkinson has died at the age of 88.
Miss Shirley MacLaine.
Over decades, his chat show featured the biggest stars of the day from show business, music and sport.
I interviewed everyone from Henry Kissinger to Billy Connolly to James Cagney to Damien Heath Evans, all those people. And I've only remembered for one thing: I was attacked by a sodding emu.
It's not aggressive.
Not much.
We'll have tributes to the man who's been called the king of the chat show. Also on the programme. Hundreds of thousands of students get their A-level results in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, with the proportion of top grades falling.
And I'm here at UCAS headquarters, where the staff have been speaking to anxious students trying to get a university place through clearing.
Helping the survivors after a boat carrying migrants was found drifting off West Africa, with more than 60 people feared dead. And bringing back the water vole, we see the attempts to create a thriving population of the endangered creatures in the Lake District.
And coming up on BBC News, England's World Cup semi-final win over Australia was watched by more than 7 million on the BBC, the most watched game on TV of the tournament so far.
Hello and welcome to the BBC News at 1. The broadcaster Sir Michael Parkinson has died at the age of 88. In a career spanning 7 decades, he interviewed the world's biggest stars on his long-running TV chat show. The BBC's Director General, Tim Davie, described Sir Michael as truly one of a kind and the king of the chat show. Our arts and media correspondent, David Silito, looks back at his long life and career.
Do you ever get fed up with each other?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I call him Golden Balls, you know, now, because I
Did you ever say, "you dirty rat"?
Never.
Jimmy Cagney, Orson Welles, Jimmy Stewart. These were distant, mysterious screen gods until Parkinson
Evening and welcome.
brought them into your living room.
The fact is that you're a crowd puller and Frazier's not, is he? Why is that?
Well, number one, he's ugly.
His interviews with Muhammad Ali were unmissable.
He has no rhythm, no footwork, no class. He cannot talk. And who told him he could sing? He can.
But of all those 2,000 or so guests, one always haunted him.
I've only remembered for one thing: I was attacked by a sodding emu.
It's not aggressive.
Not much.
Rod Hull and Emu rather punctured the suave TV persona.
I knew we should never have booked it.
Of course, there wasn't much Hollywood glamour in the childhood of this son of a Yorkshire miner.
My generation was the first that actually challenged the assumption that if you were born into a mining family, you followed your dad's footsteps down to the pit.
His escape was journalism, which took him to Granada TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shirley MacLaine.
And then in 1971, The Parkinson Show.
I hope I can get away with this. It's a beauty.
It was a programme that could transform a career.
It's a sort of substitute for tattoos. I'm frightened to get a tattoo. Yeah.
Billy Connolly appeared 15 times.
I'm at the oyster that went to a discotheque and pulled a muscle.
They became good friends.
He says, I need somewhere to park my bike.
You know better, as Betty Davis.
For Betty Davis, it was almost a standing ovation for just being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
The programme could, in a moment, swing from highbrow debate to risque flirtation.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Oh, my.
And occasionally, some of the questions may have discomforted the interviewee.
Let's talk about nudity. But do you find, in fact, that this, what could be best described as your equipment, in fact, hinders you, perhaps, in that pursuit?
In other words, if you were me, what would you do now?
Well, just wrap it up.
The show was about who was on. It wasn't about Michael. He saw his role really as a journalist to get the best interview he could.
In the 80s, he was briefly part of the ill-fated Gang of Five, who launched ITV's new breakfast programme before returning to the BBC.
An indication I'm leaving the company, I might.
He's a practicing homeopath, as a matter of fact.
There were moments, but it was now just one of many chat shows on an interview circuit
Pretty sure that's what he said he was.
where everyone seemed to have something to sell.
Right, play forward. Well played. Well done.
Off-screen, he loved his cricket, always a proud Yorkshireman.
One day they'll do some research into the benefit of this magnificent food, soul food for Yorkshiremen.
And at the end, it was his father's very Yorkshire judgment that came to mind.
Just before he died, he said to me, he said, "You've done well and you met some big stars." I said, "I had." He said, "You made a bob or two without breaking sweat." I admitted that was also true. "Good lad," he said, "but think on, it's not like playing for Yorkshire, is it?" It wasn't, but once or twice it got pretty damn close. Good night.
So Michael Parkinson, who's died at the age of 88, and David Sillito is with me. And how is he being remembered today, David?
What is really extraordinary is, I mean, this show is 50 years ago, and how many people have got a memory of a chat show all those years ago? Maybe it's Kenneth Williams talking about the unions, maybe it's Orson Welles going, "Forget the questions, let's just talk." Or the Muhammad Ali interview. I mean, he was promoting a soft drink, and they said, "Could you come in for 10 minutes? They devoted a whole hour to him, one of the most riveting hours of television you will ever watch. And so much TV goes by, we remember nothing. These are moments. And the fact was, it was all about being informal, late night, open-ended programme. It could go from Jacob Bronowski talking about what it means to be human to Bette Midler talking about performing in a sauna. And it required somebody who could make these leaps, who could react to something when the unexpected happened. And you have to be a pretty impressive TV performer to make that work. That was Sir Michael Parkinson.
David, thank you, David Sillito. And just to tell you that you can see a documentary tonight looking back at Sir Michael Parkinson's 50 years as a broadcaster. That's this evening, BBC One at 9 o'clock.